When you're in Alaska, there's no such thing as sleeping in. So we were all up before the sunrise. It was time to have a cup of coffee and then grab our gear and go fishing. The sun on your face, that Alaskan sun on your face, it's warm, it's beautiful, and it just lets you know that God's given you one more day to enjoy this amazing place. We're fly fishing today, and it's a different technique. It's not flipping and it's not trolling. It's fly fishing. We've got a rod here that's real long and limber. You got a heavier line. This isn't the monofilament, kind of the clear line. It's heavier, and at the end of it is a piece of monofilament line, which is just called leader, and at the end is this little tiny fly. Well, if you tried to cast it with like a spinning rod or something like that, you wouldn't get it 2 feet. So you use the power of the rod and the weight of the line to actually get your fly out there where the fish are. And you make a series of false casts, it's called, where it goes back and forward. And every time I do that, I'm going to strip line out and then let that line go, and it will continually get longer and longer, so I get more distance. And on the last cast, you release the whole thing, drop your rod tip down, and the fly should be out there as far as it can go. And that's where the fish are, and that's where we're going to catch our next fish right now. Look at the size of that fish. Wow. That is a beautiful, there we go, grayling. Yep, well, he's not happy about being in my grasp, and he unhooked himself, so I'm just gonna pick him up. This is called the double. When two buddies get two beautiful fish. I don't know that the fish are buddies, but we're buddies. Keith and I are. Beautiful. We're going to get them back in the water now, so they're okay. Here they go. Here goes one. And good job, man.
Good times, man. Good times.
What a riot. What a riot. Wow. Beautiful place. Every now and then I just stop and look around and see where we are, and we are miles from nowhere, but right where we're supposed to be.
That's right.
So this is cool.
This is beautiful. This lake is beautiful. Yeah. The fog on the lake was awesome this morning.
Yeah. I thought about sleeping in, and then I thought about fishing. I thought that was a really bad idea. So I got up.
Well, when I saw the white hat coming across the lake, I went, I thought Brian was going to sleep today.
Yeah, that was a plan. That was a plan whose time had not come. So, no, I'd rather fish than eat. I'd rather fish than sleep. So. And I realize our time is limited. We've only got, a little bit left. So
you packed in a bunch.
We did, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go help John get blood knot.
Okay.
Tied up.
Tie up the knot.
Yep.
Excellent.
Get the heavy here. Okay, so what we're doing is we're tying a blood knot here that will attach the fly line to the monofilament line. Okay, now you stick your fly line right in through that hole right there. Right. And then we cinch it down, and what that knot does, that knot allows you to tie your monofilament. There you go, John. And then we just tie a double overhand here, or a surgeon knot here. Figure 8.
Yep.
And then you can attach your fly line just with the 2 loops. Okay, and then do another figure 8 and just loop them together and you're in. If I can get up.
Do you loop them like that and then do a figure 8?
Nope. So you're going to loop this one here, do another figure 8.
Mm-hmm.
They're so light, so small. There you go. Ready to go again. It's kind of beat up, but it's been doing the job. See what she does.
One of my great joys is teaching a younger man a new skill. It was such fun to work with John and just watch him develop into a great fly fisherman in just one afternoon. Love that young man. Lift. Nice. Okay. Let it go all the way back till you feel it with the tip of your rod. Nice. There you go.
Get the thing all the way out there.
What it is, Ryan, is you've got to let your back cast, let the rod load up. So,
I want you to see how long I can wait when it goes back.
Wow.
See, there's no hurry.
If you look at this,
The rod and the line do all the work.
Uh-huh.
And then you can go further. You can go further. You can go further.
Oh my word. That is
You can go further. And then you hammer it.
That's awesome.
It goes out pretty far. Here, take it.
Oh man.
Guys, I want to talk to you about an extremely important subject. It is a virtue for men, especially men of God. It's called integrity. That's a word that gets tossed around a lot. A lot of corporate people are throwing it into their mission statements, and yeah, we're all about integrity. Well, if you are, you are. But if you're not, just saying it or putting it on a plaque somewhere on a wall doesn't help you much. Integrity means wholeness. If something has integrity, it has inner strength and connectedness. And integrity for the man of God is absolutely essential. Now, here's why.
Integrity for you as a man of God, it will give you courage to stand alone. And at times you're going to be the only one in a group that knows what's right. And if you have integrity, you will be able to stand up and say, you know what? This is what's right, that's wrong, and this is truth. Without integrity, it's very difficult to take a hard stand. It's very difficult to take a hard stand. In addition, your integrity will motivate other people to want to follow you. Why? Because you will be setting an example of what's right. Integrity is very, very powerful. Integrity will qualify you for promotion. Now, you might be a young person, you might be in high school. You demonstrate integrity and you watch and see, others will begin to follow you. You're going to go the right way, you're going to be there consistently, others will follow you. Instructors, eventually professors, business leaders, bosses, supervisors, managers, executives will see you as a person of integrity. You'll be the one getting promoted. You'll be the one getting the opportunities. It's really pretty profound what integrity will do for you. If you lack integrity or wholeness, your life will be typified by compromise. Compromise, meaning the standard's really here, but it's okay down here. That is not integrity. And that will cost you, young man, that will cost you big time. So integrity, day in, day out, 24/7, is key to your success. Somebody is always watching. It's important. Here's some infamous quotes. I love these. Now, these quotes will come from, you might have heard them before, but I've experienced these in my business. I've heard other people say these things thinking they're getting away with something. First one, nobody will ever know. Oh, that's a fun one. We think if nobody's immediately watching, I'm going to get away with something. In other words, I don't need my integrity in this moment because nobody's here. Eventually, you will be found out. I like this one. I've had people that have this anger problem and they try to explain it away. Well, I have a short fuse. I never met a man that had a fuse growing out of him. That is just an excuse for not being in control of your emotions. Oh, I have a short fuse. Another one is, they owe it to me. They owe it to me. I've seen this in the business world where somebody says, well, I'm not being fairly treated or I'm not making enough money, so I'll take some things from the employer because they owe it to me. This one you've really got to watch, guys. Once won't matter. Just once won't matter. Years ago, in the 80s, there was a basketball player who was the top recruit in the nation. He went to the University of Maryland. His name was Lenny Bias. Lenny Bias was an incredible athlete. What a guy. He was drafted by arguably the #1 team in the world, the Boston Celtics. He was going to join Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Parrish, and all those guys, and Boston would continue to be a dynasty. Lenny Bias signed a $1 million contract, young 18, 19-year-old. A friend of his came to him that night and said, Lenny, let's party, dude. You just signed this massive contract. You were signed by this phenomenal NBA team. He said, I got some cocaine. Let's do some cocaine to celebrate your new position on the team. Lenny, this massive guy, he's just huge. He's this physical specimen you can't believe. Does a line of coke. The cocaine enters his bloodstream. It hits his heart. Lenny Bias died. Just once won't matter. It killed him. It set the Celtic team back for years. Years. He had a praying mom, Christian woman, that was devastated by this. Just once matters. The other quote I hear is, business is business. That's a fun one. I remember one time a guy cheated me out of about $25,000 in a business deal I had shook his hand on the deal, but I hadn't signed a paper with him. I thought I was dealing with a man of integrity. And I came back to fulfill my part of the contract, and he said, well, I've decided not to do what I've agreed to do. And I said, but we shook on it. And he looked at me and he said, but we didn't sign on it, and business is business. And what that meant was, I have no integrity. I have no integrity. So here's the question. Does every man have a price? Does every man have a price? I want you to think about that. Do you guys have a price? And years ago, I would have sworn I had no price. You couldn't get me. I'm a man of God. I'm walking uprightly. Everything's good. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm teaching a seminar on leadership, and integrity is part of the seminar. Now, this is a long time ago. And I taught all morning. I got my little suit on, my tie, and I'm this really important business guy. And in those days, you would take all your stuff with you. I'm carrying suits and shoes and all of this stuff. This is in the day before everything was miniaturized. So you have big tubes of toothpaste and stuff. So I want smaller toiletries to take with me. And I went up to my room to take a little half-hour break at lunch. And then I'm going to come back down and teach more on integrity. And the cart that the attendant has with all of this stuff on it, towels and so on, is right in front of my door. So I head to my door, I put the key in the door, I turn the handle and I look back, and here's a little box with bottles of mouthwash in it, these miniatures. Now man, this is before they were out on the stores. I thought, how cool is that? It's like, Lord, you've delivered unto me something I need. We're going to use these little miniature scope bottles or whatever kind it was, mouthwash. And so, because I'm this important business guy, they owe it to me. Just once won't matter, right? Remember those things that we say, right? So I reached back, pulled one out of the box. It was not mine to take. Opened my door, put one foot in, my other foot's almost in, and I hear this booming female voice that says, what you want? Man, I thought God was speaking. Terror struck my heart. But fortunately, I hopped into my room, the door slammed behind me, and I got kind of indignant. I'm a pretty important guy. I'm the guy teaching everybody about this important stuff. And somebody that's cleaning rooms, cleaning toilets, has the nerve to challenge me. And all I took was this stupid little 25 cents worth of mouthwash. I was pretty angry. I even thought about straightening that woman out. You know, I'm gonna have to straighten her out because I'm pretty important. Well, I've got my little stolen bottle of mouthwash, and I step around the corner into the bathroom, and guess who's there staring at me? Me. And I look in the mirror, and here's the guy that's been teaching on integrity, and my price was about 25 cents. I have never felt so little in my life. Well, I opened the door just a crack, couldn't really see, so I opened my door full, and guess what? Here she is, arms crossed, about 4'5", staring up at me with a look that just could kill a grizzly. She was directly in front of my door and probably would have stayed there for 9 hours until I came out. She knew I'd have to come out sooner or later. And so, big man, important guy, melted down to this little pool of about a 5-year-old. And I hold out my stolen bottle of mouthwash and I handed it to her. And I said, I'm a godly man. I never should have taken that. I am so embarrassed and I am so sorry. Now she still looks like she's about to punch me in the nose. What's awesome about this is this woman had standards. She had integrity. She knew she was responsible for even that little bottle of mouthwash. And she was not about to let somebody else take it away. And once I confessed and I handed it back, I mean, I'm looking down. I can't even look her in the eye. And this big smile breaks over her face. She reaches up like this and taps me on the shoulder. And she goes, "That's all right, baby. That's all right." Man, I went from 5-year-old to 2-year-old. I'm like, "Will you pick me up?" I was so embarrassed and it just crushed. And I found out that day, guys, my price was about 25 cents worth of mouthwash. So here's the question. Do you have a price? Do you have a price? If so, what is it? I'll just tell you this. If you ever sell out, you better make sure that it's for something extremely valuable, because man, you're going to have an eternity to think about it. The better advice is this: don't sell out at any price. Hold on to your integrity, live a life of integrity, and you'll never have any regrets.
Growing up, I was a Navy brat. Started off on the East Coast and traveled around, ended up in Southern California and eventually in Southeast Washington State. Left California, everybody said Washington is this beautiful mountain place. It rains all the time. And on the eastern side, it is a great big desert. Had a blast, did a lot of hunting and fishing, and eventually left and came up here to Alaska. As a kid, you know, my parents did introduce me to religion. It was, you know, much later in life that I actually did find Jesus Christ and had turned my life around. Unfortunately, it was at the end of a marriage and pretty hard times. But eventually got through it with a good help and a great community of church and believers. And man, looking back on those times, it was an awesome experience, and I'm so, and on some level, so sad, you know, at the cost, but on the other hand, you know, the reward, you know, at the end is awesome. So right now, I've got my own company. I stay busy doing repair and remodel work. I have way too much work going on right now. Hardly have time to have any fun, but I manage. I enjoy going down to Florida, going scuba diving, and just having fun in the South. You know, I love the extremes in Alaska. I mean, you can be in, like right now, you know, standing on peat bog covered in bugs. And you can also, in an hour from now, you can be on a beautiful mountaintop with absolutely the most gorgeous views in the entire world. And you look around and you know that this place was absolutely created by a creator. I think it's important for men everywhere to be the man, take responsibility, take the reins, and lead their family, lead their children, and be the best that they can be. Serve God, serve country.
I've always been interested in gardening, and I feel a little bit of independence with a garden, and we love eating out of our garden. So this whole area is really tough for growing something because it's tundra, it's silt, glacial silt off the mountains, and there's just not much there. So everything we're growing in, we have to bring in. I built a garden box and put up the greenhouse that he gave me, and put a little drip watering system. We have water that comes off the mountain, and so I just put that on a timer. It's self-pressured and waters for 20 minutes twice a day. And I don't know if you want to just peek in here or not, but it's growing pretty well. It's overstuffed with a lot of things because I wanted to try as many things as I could, including that I'm building a rocket mass heater. And so I put stovepipe through there, and when I get the rocket mass heater completed, it will put heat into my soil, and I should get an extra month of growing in the fall and one in the spring. And so I should have 5 months of growing. These peas are just 5 weeks old, and you can see they're, you know, about 4.5, 5 feet tall, and we don't have peas on there yet, but we've got kale and beans going, and summer squash, and carrots, potatoes, even the plants don't look like much, but we've got some very nice cherry tomatoes going here. We've just about eaten all the broccoli off of it, but so that's my garden. I like it.
After a full day of fishing, we gathered around for a famous Alaskan feast. The food was outstanding, the company was amazing, and the scenery just could not be beat. It's hard to be anything but satisfied when you're in Alaska.